Hello and welcome to episode 12 of the Jacation Podcast. Today we'll be talking about the first anniversary of Jacation, an article about congestion in the national parks and what Congress wants to do about it, and our recent trip to the Virgin Islands. Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Jacob and this is my co-host / co-star.
I'm Jacob's mom. Hello.
What's your name?
Oh, Jane.
Yeah.
I'm Mom. Please call me Mom. It's awesome.
Yeah, she loves it when people do that.
When they're like, and Mom?
Yeah.
I'm not your mom.
Okay, so
starting early today.
Yeah, the earlier the better. Okay, so we've been a little bad about this, but
yeah, we're way behind.
We've been pretty busy here, so
yeah.
But we've got a lot to talk about, many trips to talk about. But today we're going to talk about our recent trip to the Virgin Islands, which we got back last week
on the 20th.
Yes. So before we get started, I've got some housekeeping to take care of. Be sure to...
You do?
Yeah.
Are you going to clean your room?
No.
Oh.
Be sure to talk about follow us on Instagram at Jacation_adventure, Twitter at Jacation Travel, Facebook Jacation Space Travel, YouTube Jacation Adventure, and our website www.jacation.club.
Goodness.
How many times can you say Jacation in a minute?
I don't know.
We're gonna break the record. Okay, the next thing on my list here is to mention the new On the Trail series that is out. The first episode is the trunk. It's actually not really a trail, but it kind of is. Not a hiking trail.
Oh, no.
The underwater trail at Trunk Bay in the Virgin Islands, which we will be talking about later. And then we will have the Reef Bay Trail up, which is an actual hiking trail on the island at some point. So, on Jacation, we have new articles about Black Canyon, Saguaro, and Great Sand Dunes. And
written by Jacob.
All written on...
lazy.
Yeah, and then the last thing is the first anniversary of Jacation.
Woo!
Which we celebrated on July 27th. That was our first Instagram post.
Yeah, cool.
And then the website came out a couple weeks later.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that first episode, or that first post was from the Watchmen and Zion.
Oh, yeah.
And I reposted that on the anniversary, which you can find on Instagram. Yeah.
Yeah?
All right. I'm through with my list of things that I need to...
Okay, that was your housekeeping?
That's my housekeeping.
See, people, that's what his housekeeping looks like.
Yes, not actual housekeeping.
Not actual housekeeping.
Okay. So, I thought we'd start off with this interesting article. You may have been seeing this in the news if you follow this, but the article that I was looking at was the Daily Interlake, which is in this little newspaper out of Kalispell, but they actually had a pretty good article.
Oh, I saw it on Twitter or something, and it was just like this. It was through like a national park feed. Not anything very, super official, but anyway. So I actually haven't read it. I just saw it. So Jacob will do all the talking about that.
So yeah, I wrote down just some notes here, kind of just summarizing what's going on. So the NPS, the National Park Service, basically their challenge right now is increased visitation and across the park system. And that's just an increase in tourism.
Oh, for sure.
As well. We were just talking before this about how we have a friend who lives in Hawaii who it's like the influx of tourists is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But just looking at the national parks, places like Glacier and Yellowstone are seeing massive visitation numbers higher than it's ever been.
Yeah.
and that kind of threatens the serenity, the wildlife, cultural sites of the park with these,
Yeah.
people.
Well, I guess what's sad about it is we love national parks, and I'm not saying we're the most perfect travelers, but we do um, respect the parks when we're there. I mean, well, we respect a lot of things all the time anyway.
Right.
But, and I can see where, if it gets out of hand and people are, well, we have an example. I'm sure we'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Of people disrespecting a park like we saw in the Virgin Islands.
So our arches and canyonlands are seeing increased vandalism on petroglyphs.
Yeah, that's crap.
Which is just awful. If you don't know what a petroglyph is, it's basically ancient writings, and they vary on how old they are, and they're quite frequent in southwestern parks like this. People are not staying on the trail at Rocky Mountain. They're getting too close to park wildlife, elk, and other things. So, and some of the solutions that were discussed, and this was a Senate subcommittee on national parks, which Angus King is the chair of that. Well, who cares? Some of the solutions that were discussed were a national parks shuttle system. Now, they already do that in Zion, and that's used in Denali too. But that's, that kind of depends on the park. And that was one thing that the park official that was testifying mentioned was that, one size doesn't fit all.
Right.
It really depends on the infrastructure of the park and whatnot. So, another system that was discussed is timed entry. Glacier, Rocky Mountain, Yosemite. I think Acadia was doing that. Senator Steve Daines really brought this up, and he's from Montana, so he has Glacier in his thing. So that's a big concern for him. And they talked about the pros and cons of a reservation system. So it's like you're kind of the locals who have annual passes to just that park are competing to get to going to the sun, and they have to do it early.
Yeah.
And that's not something you want to do. You want to be able to go there when you live there.
Well, yeah.
I want to go to the park tonight.
I think about all the times that when we lived in Colorado, we would just be like, let's go to Rocky Mountain today. And we did that a lot.
And you can't really do that anymore because Rocky Mountain is just overrun with people.
I mean, I'm glad people are seeing it because it's beautiful. But at the same time, I can't imagine living there and being like, oh, well, I can't do what I would normally do or my little day trip or whatever. But I don't know. I mean, of course, it can go either way with that. But, I mean, just, I don't know. Never mind.
Yeah, so some people, it was mentioned that some people spend, tens of thousands of dollars on these trips to get to these places. And then it's like they get to the park entrance and it's like they can't get in.
Right. But that's also a part of research and figuring out what you can't just show up anymore.
Oh, right. Well, that's true. Yeah. So the cons was, the annual passes having to compete with the tourists coming in. And the chair, Senator King, he said he would like to increase staffing in the parks, but also have like ways to navigate the parks with smartphone apps, which that would mean an increase in like cell phone coverage, trying to get people away, or just or make it easier, I suppose. But one thing that the official said is like these are the top parks that are having these issues. Like you're not gonna find a million people in Great Basin, or a place that nobody, Big Bend, or something that they don't know about. So this is basically a top park
problem.
Yeah, Smoky Mountains, Acadia, Teton, Yellowstone. Those are the places that are having the issues, and It's just the MPS director would like to see some more light shed on places that, because there's over 400 park sites
Mm-hmm.
that don't get the visitation numbers,
Right.
like Lake Mead or Colorado National Monument, or things that aren't as well known
Mm-hmm.
but are just as spectacular.
Right.
So, and we've seen some stupidity in the
Yeah.
national parks, and it's I mean, it always makes us feel bad.
Yeah.
There's a picture in Zion of Ben holding all these water bottles that he
Right.
just went around and picked up.
Right. Like we were the ones doing all the recycling. People just trash it.
Yeah, which is,
I mean, that's not even just a national park issue. That's everywhere.
right.
So,
Yeah, so um we try to do that. We've seen people playing cornhole in Sequoia
right.
under the tallest, most massive, well, not tallest, but the biggest trees on Earth
Mm-hmm.
in a really magical place, and then they're just acting like it's a cul-de-sac. Um, but yeah, so I mean, I hope Congress does something about this.
Yeah.
Um, and that more funding, more staffing for park rangers. I mean, that would be a great thing.
Oh, yeah.
So, because it's like this is where you go to find serenity.
Mm-hmm.
You don't go to Chicago to be at peace,
Right.
So I just thought that was kind of an interesting article. Okay, so that's it for that article. So let's start talking about our recent trip to the Virgin Islands, and I guess we should be specific and say the U.S. Virgin Islands,
Right.
mainly St. John.
Mm-hmm.
So the U.S. Virgin Islands are three main islands. There's St. Croix, St. Thomas, and St. John. They're located about 1,100 miles from Miami. They're east of Puerto Rico and west of the British Virgin Islands, and they are named by Christopher Columbus in 1493. So, um, Virgin Islands National Park is located almost exclusively on St. John, except for like a few tiny little spots on St. Thomas.
Really?
Yeah.
Here's when we were discussing this earlier, how our podcast goes, and how and Jacob was like asking his dad to go on a podcast with him because they went to two parks, just the two of them, and he was like, well, what am I supposed to do? And I'm like, well, you just let Jacob talk, and then you just put in your little like, oh, really?
Your little 2 cents every once in a
Yeah,
while.
and Jacob's like, yeah, Mom's like, oh, is that where we were? Oh, I didn't know that. So that's, it's not hard to be on a podcast with Jacob. You just sit here and I said, I'm the color commentary.
There you go.
Or just huh? So anyway, go on.
Okay, so St. John is the smallest of the three islands, and it's where we spend our time because that's where the national park is, and that's what we like to do. And so it was created as a national park because Lawrence Rockefeller donated it as part of his Jackson Hole Preserve that helped make Grand Teton a national park too. So kind of an interesting little thing there. Okay, so let's talk about getting to St. Thomas, basically, because there is no airport on St. John.
Correct.
You can go to St. Croix, but I wouldn't want to be on I don't know if they even have ferries, but...
What? They have ferries from St. Thomas to St. Croix.
Yeah, so that would be a long time. So we're just going to assume that you're going to fly into St. Thomas.
Can you fly into St. Croix?
Yeah, you can.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to go through the major airlines real quick, and then we'll talk about our flights and what we did and our first flight getting canceled. That was a great time. Okay, so American Airlines, you can fly. They fly from St. Thomas. All these places you can get there from. So Charlotte, Miami, Philadelphia, Dallas, Fort Worth, and JFK, New York JFK. Delta, you can get there from Atlanta, JFK, and Boston. Frontier, you can get there from San Juan, Puerto Rico. Boston, again, JFK, and Newark. Spirit from Fort Lauderdale and Orlando. United, Houston, George Bush, Newark, Washington, Dulles, and Chicago O'Hare. So
I'm rolling my eyes at this.
that's like where the major airlines. Well,
Okay.
I just thought I'd mention it if you're thinking about going there. So we flew from, well, the plan was to fly from here to Charlotte on American, and then to St. Thomas, and then back from St. Thomas to Dallas Fort Worth to here. But that did not go as planned. You want to kind of talk about what happened with that?
This is so weird that I kind of forgot about this because seemed like a long time ago. But the night before we were supposed to leave, we were going to fly the next morning to Charlotte, and about, I don't know, less than 12 hours before our flight was supposed to leave, right?
Yeah.
We got this text from American Airlines saying, your flight from Kansas City to Charlotte has been canceled. We will contact you with updated information. And I was just like, what? So here it is, the evening before, we'd eaten dinner. We were supposed to leave at like 6 something in the morning, I think.
Yeah, we were getting all packed up and ready to go.
Yeah, so we were going to get up really early, go at like 4 something in the morning. And so we get this. So I immediately just got on the phone and called American. And I was all prepared for it to go horribly wrong just because of how this had gone. This really nice lady answered, and I said, yeah, my flight has just been canceled. And she said, what's your number? And I told her, and she was like, she looked at it and she's like, oh my goodness. I'm like, yeah, so she actually was very patient, very nice.
Oh yeah, she could not have been nicer.
She was like, and I think she was prepared for me to go totally yelling on her, and I was nice, but I was just like, look, and so she said, here, there's 2 different flights. I'm going to get you on 2 flights you can take. Which one do you want? Your layover is going to be this long. So she booked us through Dallas, which was fine. Got us, we actually ended up leaving an hour earlier and getting into St. Thomas about, I don't know, around the same time.
Less of a layover, too.
Actually, a little bit earlier. So she was wonderful. So American Airlines, you pissed me off there for a little hot minute. But then once I talked to this lady and she even got us seated together and everything. So yay, redemption. But yeah, for a little while there, I was steaming mad.
Yeah, I even looked how long it took to drive to Charlotte. That's impractical and stupid, but I was just like, oh, we can make it.
Yeah, but we didn't.
But, yeah, it was just like a panic.
I don't even know you did that, I don't think.
It was just a panic moment, but.
Yeah, it was bad. So it was fine. We ended up getting there fine. We flew through Dallas. We had a really short layover.
Yep.
We had like an hour and a half maybe. So we had enough time to get off the plane and grab something to eat. Well, we went to the next terminal where we were supposed to be, got something to eat, and then sat at the gate and ate it. And
then got done eating, and it was time to board.
Yeah, so we actually, it was perfect.
Yeah, and so the flight from Dallas to St. Thomas, they had the online entertainment system. So there was a screen on the back.
Mm.
And I must say, I liked that was nice. I know United and Delta are like going to put that on all their planes, and American probably will follow suit, but there was some good stuff on there. I know you watched a show that you've been wanting to watch, I think.
Oh, yeah, they had some Apple TV on there. So I watched the first 2 episodes of Ted Lasso, which were all that were available. The first 2 episodes of The Morning Show, also from Apple TV. So good on you, American and Apple, for letting me watch 2 of these shows and then leaving me hanging and then me having to subscribe to Apple TV.
There you go. So
I haven't done it yet, but I need to. Anyway, let's talk about our actual vacation rather than this boring airport.
Okay, so when you get to St. Thomas, we're just assuming that you're going through St. Thomas if you don't want to be on a boat all day. Um, so you've got a couple of options. So there's two ferry lines to St. John, which again, we're assuming that's where you want to be. There's one out of Charlotte Emile, which is right near the airport, or there's one out of Red Hook. The Red Hook one is significantly shorter of a distance and time to get to St. John. And since you don't like boats,
Well, and also the one from Red Hook is like every hour on the hour. The one that's I think it's Charlotte Amalie or something.
oh, okay.
But anyway, it's there. It only goes about 4 or 5 times a day. It's got odd hours. So the Red Hook one is way more popular. However, it's on the other side of St. Thomas, so you end up having to take a cab from St. Thomas or all the way across St. Thomas. We rented a house on St. John, so the lady who I had spoken with, who was the house manager there, gave me the name of a private taxi that we could rent, which was really nice. She explained to me that if you were to just get a taxi from the cab stand there in the airport, that they'd say, okay, here, come and get on, and then it wouldn't be just you. There'd be some more people they'd try to get on. So all the taxis are like vans. So she said they could put a lot of people in there, and then just wherever they're going, they're going to drop them off. So you could end up going, stopping at numerous hotels or whatnot along the way. She said that this taxi that she was going to refer me to would be, you would just rent them prior, and then you would, or hire them prior, pay them, and then it was just like a flat fee. Well, the fee is based on the number of people and the number of bags. So, and she said it was like right around the same price or cheaper, and then it would just be like your family. So,
and go directly to the ferry and not stop
right.
at hotels or whatever.
So it was Warren G Taxi. So he's got a website. I would highly recommend it, Warren G Taxi, and I hope that's right. Anyway, you could probably find it by Googling that. We rented one, so for the four of us to ride from one end of St. Thomas to the other, it was $85. So they accept only cash or Venmo. So I Venmo'd Warren, and then you just tip your driver. So when we got there, the guy was waiting with a sign that had our name on it. We just went and got in, and he just drove us straight to the ferry port and let us off. So, I mean, it was very simple, very easy. We were the only people in there. We didn't have to make any weird stops. So that was great.
Yeah, he took us directly there. He was very nice. He helped with the luggage.
Yeah, it was great. We went right to the ferry stand. We went there and bought tickets on the ferry. It was like $8 a person or something like that, and $4 a bag for anything you weren't carrying. So we had one big suitcase and we had two smaller ones, and then we all had like backpacks. So we held on to our backpacks, but we paid the fee for the other. So it was like $40 for this ferry. So,
yeah.
Anyway, so we've spent $120 just to get from St. Thomas to St. John, but everything went smoothly. It was easy. I mean, I wouldn't complain.
Okay, so then we get to we crossed over. It was a little choppy going there, but not bad. I mean, it just kind of depends on the day and what's going on.
But it's only a 3-mile trip. It's like a 15 to 20 minute boat ride.
Yeah,
so.
It does not take long to get there. So then we arrived at our little dock, and it was time to get our rental car. Now, there are lots of small little rental car companies. There is no like budget or Alamo or
Yeah.
any of the big ones that you would really associate with that. And because it's a small island, do this early.
Yes, do it early. I had made the I had rented the house and I had made the airline reservation back in February. I don't know why at the time I didn't rent a car. So it was probably a couple months out maybe, and I thought, "Oh gosh, I should start looking at a rental car." Well, that was a super panicky time for me. I started looking and it was just like I put in the dates and I put in what I wanted, and there would be nothing. Well, I honestly think all of these rental car companies have like 5 to 10 vehicles each, and that's it. I mean, I really, now after being there, I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but there's not a lot of real estate that anybody has here with these cars. So, after going just down the list of things in Google, I found a company called Aqua Blue. They had really good they had good ratings on through Google. They had good ratings on TripAdvisor. So they had one car that was available. It was a Jeep. It was a two-door Jeep. So, and I was, of course, that's not super ideal for our family of four, but that was the only rental car
That's what we could get.
that I could get. So that's what we rented. Um, Aqua Blue met us at the ferry dock, which was nice. So we just got off, waited for our luggage, walked over. The lady was standing there. She had the Jeep with her. So she kind of looked at us and was like, "Oh my goodness, like there's four of you, and here's this." And it's not like, the boys are teenagers, they're
Yeah,
taller
Ben's a
than me.
sophomore. I'm going to be a freshman in college.
Yeah,
Like,
so
yeah.
it's like these are four grown people, and she looked at us and she was like, "Oh," and I said, "Well, this is all we could get." So
We made it work, though.
we did. We got in there. We had they think the boys were in the back with a suitcase on their laps, maybe, but
Yeah.
we wedged in there and started off on our little journey. So
Okay, so yeah, Aqua Blue. Our experience with them was pretty positive. It was kind of chaotic at when we were turning our car
yeah,
in.
but that's okay.
Yeah, it ended up being fine. They taxied us. Well, the place is kind of hard to find. Their little office.
Yeah.
And then they paid for a taxi for us to get back to the ferry dock.
Yeah, but that's okay. So they're all in this downtown area, like the most populated part and the most crowded part of St. John,
Cruise Bay.
which is Cruise Bay. So that's where the ferry comes in. That's where like most of the shopping and everything is.
And the hotels, if you're going to stay at a hotel, it's probably going to be on that side.
Yeah.
Which is the west side of the island.
Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about now getting around.
Okay.
Big thing. If you're from the U.S., you or any place that drives on the right, you drive on the left on in the U.S. Virgin Islands, which is the only place in U.S. jurisdiction where you drive on the left. So that took a little getting used to. The roundabouts were kind of frightening because you go clockwise. Yeah. So we are staying on the Coral Bay side, which is the other side of the island. So there are two roads that you can take to get across the island. Well, really one, but I'll just talk about it. So there's Highway 20, which goes along the North Shore, and that is where the National Park Service beaches are. And we'll talk about those later, because that's where we spent a big chunk of time, was exploring these particular beaches. And that kind of goes up back into, because the whole island's just mountainous. And that kind of just goes back up to this Highway 10, which goes between Cruise Bay and Coral Bay, and a little past that all the way to the east side of the island. And that's the main, wouldn't you say that's just like the main
Yeah.
road? The Highway 20 is well maintained, but the Highway 10 is kind of a mess.
Well, mostly you're going to be, if you're going to go from one side of the island to the other, you're just going to take 10. I mean,
Right.
and that's what we were doing. We're getting there. The sun does set at around 7 o'clock, and we landed in St. Thomas at 4:30 ish, and then we had to take the cab.
It takes like half an hour to get to.
Yeah, so we took the cab, we took the boat, and now we're kind of getting close to running out of daylight. I mean, we did have enough to get over to the other side, which was good, because once it gets dark, it's dark. And then you're
Yep.
on this road that's not, there's no lights, and you're driving on the wrong side, and there's potholes and
Hills, steep
blind
grades.
hills, steep grades. It's kind of crazy. So we were really, what we wanted to do was just get this car, get to our rental house. So we kind of just did that. Like, get in, get out, no messing around, go across. We'd asked about restaurants, and then we were like, maybe we should just get over to the other side and then figure out.
And then worry about it.
Yeah.
So, we do pretty much our new trend is we get a VRBO house.
Yes.
There are hotels, and they are pretty much all on the cruise bay side, the biggest being the Westin, but there's not really name brand. There's not Hampton Inns or Embassy Suites. The island is just kind of primitive, I think was the best word for it. It's not like, you're not going to find a McDonald's on the island either.
Right, which is fine. So we had rented on the Coral Bay side, not really having, we just thought, oh, it's quieter over there. And it was nice. We just had to get there. So we had decent directions. And it's just kind of funny, the things that she told us that we would pass along the way. We were like, oh, okay, yeah. We're seeing this, we're seeing that. Okay, we're getting there. But really, when you get to a strange place or any place that you've never been, you're like, where are we going? So we did finally find it. It was in this tiny, it was called Johnson Bay Estates or something, but there, I don't even know how many houses were back there. Not very many.
3 or 4.
Well, 3 or 4 along the water, and then some that weren't. We got a house on the water, so and that's kind of a rarity in St. John. Most of the houses are up on the hillside, and we looked at those, and then we decided, well, it'd be nice to just be down low by the water, thinking, and there was a little. Well, we can kind of go into that. There was a beach, sort of, quote unquote, beach outside of our house.
Yeah.
And it was just not, it wasn't, I mean, yes, in essence, it was a beach. It wasn't anything that we wanted to spend a whole lot of time at, but it was really neat to have.
Yeah.
There were a lot of, shells and rocks right along there. So it wasn't this big white sand entry. A lot of seagrass right inside there. So, I mean, it was fine. It wasn't any place that we ended up spending all this time at, but I think the boys enjoyed it, and we
I would get up and watch sunrise and stuff.
Yeah. So, we did have that, but so we got to our place. It was really nice. Very modern on the inside as compared to on the outside. It was turquoise with white and pink accents. Had a big deck along the back of it that faced the water, which was awesome.
Yeah, the deck is kind of on an upper level.
Yeah.
And then there's the big beach, and then a hedge thing and the water.
Yeah. So it was actually a man-made sand area that we had as a yard, which was really kind of cool. And then past that, we'll have to post some pictures with that of our house. But so a cute little house. Well, I say little. It was actually quite a nice sized house. Really two. You walk in and it's like there's a kitchen and a big living room area, and then on either side of that there's a bedroom and a with a bath or attached to each. So it was almost like having two master bedrooms. We had one on to the right that had a king bed. The boys shared one that had two twins, but they had asked prior if they could reconfigure the room, push the twins together, and make it a king bed if that's if there were like two couples traveling together. So it was actually like the perfect setup. Each room was probably the same size. Each bathroom was the same.
And all these rooms are connected by the deck that overlooks the water.
Right. So along the entire back, there was a deck. It was a nice deck made of like that Trex material. So, the fake wood thing. Really nice, big outdoor seating, outdoor furniture. There was a hot tub. I had talked to the house manager prior to us getting there, and she did tell me that something was wrong with the hot tub. And so she said we could get in it, but you wouldn't be able to turn it on. So normally that would upset me, and I love having a hot tub, and especially if we're in the mountains. But it was hot there.
Hot and humid.
Yeah, and so it was like really the thought of a hot tub was just kind of gross. So that ended up being okay.
And I'll say this: one of the best features of that house was under our deck there was like a foot shower.
Yeah, there
for
was like
getting the sand off, which
yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah, so it said outdoor shower. There was one that you would just like pull the rope and the shower would come down from above you. That wasn't like a very high pressure situation, like water pressure. The other one, the foot thing, had more force, so that was nice because everywhere we went, we were covered in sand. So we would come back, immediately go to the back foot shower thing, wash off, and then go into the house. So
this house also had a gate, which kind of got annoying, but the reason being is that you don't want to let the donkeys in.
Yeah.
And that's not a joke.
Donkeys or goats.
Donkeys or goats, and they'll eat the garden.
Right. So, and there was also this amazing garden all around the house. Really awesome. Really beautiful. Just tropical, very lush, very tropical. But so every time we would get there, every time we would come and go, we would have to like this was my job, like opening the gate. Then the Jeep would pull out, and then I'd close the gate, and then I'd get in.
And we couldn't help because we're in the back because we have a 2-door.
Yeah, so it was, sometimes it's like, oh, I would get in the Jeep and then be like, I forgot about the gate. But so I'm glad it's not my everyday routine to have to open and close this gate.
But it was fine.
But it was, it was kind of cute and just like, oh, yeah. Well, the house we stayed at in Yosemite also had a gate that I was always having to open and close. So anyway, that's all right. It was good. It was pretty. It was a cute little place. I'm really glad we rented it. I think it was
totally worth it.
Yeah, a great house.
And it's not, you were looking at it and it's not available. And we noticed that it might be for sale.
Yeah, they had told me that someone was going to come out and like survey it while we were there. And there was a surveyor who was there for a while. I think the first morning we were there, we were just kind of hanging out on the deck, and I was drinking coffee, and we were just kind of sitting there enjoying, and there was a surveyor guy out there. And they put up a sign that it didn't say for sale as of yet, but it had
a real estate
thing. Like it might be. So anyway, it was a good place to stay. I would recommend the Coral Bay side if you're like into more quiet. It was just a little bit quieter over there.
And so when we were sleeping, we found out our house is right next to a bird sanctuary.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
So, that was really probably my only like, oh my gosh. We got there and it was nice and quiet. Well, once the sun went down, these birds just
They made
started.
noise at night. It was
They
weird.
only made noise at night, and they were real loud.
Yeah, they were.
So, and not the kind of bird noises you hear here. They were like, it was just nuts.
Many species of tropical birds were, yeah.
It wasn't like we ever really saw them that much. They were just loud. So,
Yeah, I didn't really see any, but they made a lot of noise.
yeah. So,
Okay, so let's start talking about activities within the national park, which is kind of basically where we spent a lot of our time, because that's the main thing to do on the island, except go and drink rum at a bar or whatever.
yeah.
So the park visitor center is on the cruise bay side, the populated side. It's kind of it's kind of hard to keep track of since both towns start with a C and have bay as their second word. So
Yeah.
the park visitor center was great. It's right along the water. We got information there from a lady who also works at the Friends of the Park store, which is right by it, and that's a great little place to get park merchandise and stuff with things that say, Virgin Islands National Park on it. But they also had a little store at the visitor center, which was kind of nice. I bought a couple things there, I know.
Mm-hmm.
So, the park sign is there, one of them,
Right.
and we saw this was as close as we got to one of the big iguanas. So when you were renting the car, there was a picture of this giant, like 3 foot iguana,
Yeah.
like on the Jeep, which is kind of funny. But we saw a few of them, but this is the one that we got a picture of, and that was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't want to get too close to it because I didn't want its little flap thingies to come out,
Yeah.
whatever those are called. But that was kind of fun. We did see one at the National Park Visitor Center, which is a great place to see it, I think.
Yeah.
So that's a great place to get information about the island in general too, I would say.
Yeah, and they also told us about a place where you could rent snorkel equipment because we wanted to get some. Wasn't it them who told us about this
Yes,
place?
yeah, it was.
So we walked over. This place was called Just Beach, and you could rent for, I think it was
$30 a week. $30 a week.
Yeah, we ended up paying $90 for 3 sets of snorkel equipment. So it was, I think, $5 a day. So we each got. So you tell them your shoe size. They give you the corresponding size of fins. So we had fins, a mask, and a snorkel for the 3 of us. My husband doesn't snorkel, so we didn't get him one. But so we got that, which was nice. We could rent it for a week. They gave us all this stuff in like a mesh kind of bag, so we could just take it with us. So that was like something awesome to do, just to have. We had everything. We just left it in our car at all times, so we could just, whenever we were snorkeling, which was every single day,
we just had it with us.
Yeah, we could use it. So that was good.
So let's talk a little bit about hiking. So we did like 3 different hikes. One of them really wasn't that far. But the first one I'd like to talk about is Peace Hill. So this is in between Hawk's Nest and Trunk Beach on the North Shore. So you use Highway 20 to get there. And you park it up on this little hill. And then there's like a short but steep hike up to this old tower ruin. But that's not the main attraction, I don't think. The main attraction is the absolutely beautiful views from the top. This is like the premier overlook of the park, wouldn't you say?
Oh, yeah.
So you can see Hawk's Nest and you can see Trunk Bay, which these are some of the most beautiful beaches on the planet. The beautiful green, like turquoise water. Oh my gosh, it's really pretty. You can see St. Thomas. You can see Tortola, of the British Virgin Islands. This is a great little spot to see. And most of the time you're just on the beaches, so it's kind of cool to get this unique upper perspective. So I would highly recommend, and you can spend, it's like a 15-minute stop. It won't take you very long.
No.
And get some absolutely spectacular and stunning pictures from up there. The other one is also along Highway 20, the other short hike that all of us did. This was the Cinnamon Bay ruins. So across the streets from the Cinnamon Bay beach, there's just these old ruins. The Europeans used the Virgin Islands to make sugar. So St. John was home to a lot of sugar plantations, and this being one of them. That was really cool to walk around. I mean, it was interesting.
Yeah.
And there's like a little half-mile trail that goes around, and there's many, signs that you can read that kind of tell you what they did there in each particular room, and it was really interesting, and the ruins are very pretty and cool looking, I think. And so the hike that Dad and I just did, this is basically the premier hike of the national park, and so you weren't there for this, so
No.
I'll just talk about this. So this is the Reef Bay Trail, and we added on the short petroglyph spur. So with a total sum, this was 5.16 miles, and the elevation gain was 1,176 feet. So basically you start, this is on Highway 10, you start near the top of the island. We kind of showed you where that trailhead was, and it's almost as high as you can go. So you're going downhill pretty much all the way down. So the Park Service ranks this as like being a strenuous hike, and we were like, oh, what are you talking about? This isn't bad at all, but we found out later why it's called a strenuous hike. So on the way down, you pass several smaller ruins, and there's a few views of the ocean and this, the beautiful tropical rainforest, like green mountains, super beautiful. We passed some deer while we were going down there. Lots of tiny little lizard things. We probably saw a couple dozen of them just running around. There's some huge, massive termite nests. That was really kind of weird to see. But we got down, and it says petroglyphs 0.22 miles. So 0.44 round trip added onto this, which it's not bad at all. It's pretty much flat the entire time. And then you go to this little rock outcropping thing, and there's these petroglyphs there from the ancient people who lived on St. John. So, and it was kind of funny because a lot of the logos of places on St. John are the petroglyphs. So, like the real estate place that may be selling that house that we stayed at, it's like the symbol of that was like a petroglyph drawing at this. So it was really quite cool, and they're super old. So, I mean, before, I think it was AD, like 900 AD or something crazy. So that was super interesting. A little bit further down the trail is a very well preserved ruin, and it's absolutely massive. And there's like hardly anybody around. There is a bathroom at the bottom of this, by the way, so you don't have to. If you can hold it, you don't have to find a place to pee in the jungle. So that's kind of good. Um, and right nearby is the beach. Um, I wouldn't. It's hard to get to, so there wasn't anybody like sitting down there. Uh, but it was super nice. It was a nice, picturesque beach, and we ate our little snacks, and then decided, well, and that was the end of the hike. So it's like, all right, now up we go. It it was a tough hike, especially at the end. It was like, oh my gosh, I mean, it was very steep, but we made it up okay, a little over 5 miles. The National Park Service was the closest or the best estimate for the mileage on this. All Trails says it was something like 7 miles, and yeah, I wasn't even close to that. So it was easy going down and strenuous coming back up. So that was our trail. We really enjoyed it, and that again, that's like the premier hiking trail in the park, and a lot of the trails just lead to this Reef Bay Trail. So that's it for hiking. That's all we did.
I did none of this.
All right, so let's take a little break and talk about food.
Okay.
So we'll start with groceries. So there's the most popular seems to be this Dolphin Market. There was a few of those that we saw while we were on the island.
We did go in one Dolphin Market. If you're used to, I mean, like we are, these giant grocery stores that we have all around us, these are quite surprising. But they had what we needed. I will say, so the Dolphin Market was cheaper and bigger than this other place that was by our house.
The Calabash.
There was this market called Calabash that was by us. That was the first place we went in, and just to get our necessities. The prices were shocking. I knew they would be, but the worst thing was orange juice. I think we got a 32-ounce thing of orange juice like you would buy here, and here it would be like $3 or $4. There it was $11.99.
Yeah.
So that was like the worst. But I did buy it because my husband drinks orange juice every day, and Ben likes it too. We bought orange juice. I don't think we bought milk. I did buy eggs, and we bought some peanut butter and some bread, a couple bags of chips. I think the first trip to the store, that is what we bought.
Yeah.
Later on, we did go to when we went to the Dolphin Market, the prices were cheaper, but it was...
And they had a bigger selection.
They did have a bigger selection, but all the aisles in here are like half of the aisle size, and you're...
Tall.
Huh?
Well, maybe they weren't tall, it just felt tall because they were closer together.
Yeah, it was pretty much closed in. Like
You couldn't fit two people down.
If you're going down that aisle, you need to not have someone coming towards you. There weren't carts though, so I mean, it's just like kind of grab everything that you want, and
it was like gas station size. Well, maybe even smaller than that.
Yeah.
So pizza, I'll just mention because that's something I always think about, was $10.95 for a Red Baron.
Yeah.
Frozen pizza. So since they have to import everything, it's not cheap.
No.
A cheap venture, that's for sure. So we ate at 3 places while we were on St. John. This place we ate at twice was near our place by Cruise Bay, or
in
Coral Bay.
right.
See, I still get them mixed up, and I was just there. The Pizza Bar in Paradise. This pizza was fine.
No, I thought it was good.
Yeah.
They did actually make it all there. I mean, when we would order it, the guy would roll out the dough and throw it up in the air and make a pizza. We ate there. I think we ate there our first night. We ended up just going back there and getting a pizza, and then we ate there another maybe our last night too.
Yeah.
Anyway, it was good.
It was good.
They had lots of different, I mean, toppings and things. So they would just make everything from scratch. It came out really quickly.
They didn't seem to be open on the weekends. I think
Yeah,
that
they
was.
weren't open on the weekends, which was kind of odd to me, but it was okay. So we ate there twice. Good little place. The pizzas do run like $30 a pizza.
Yeah, they are expensive, like
So,
everything else
but
on the
everything
island.
else.
So
The place we ate the most, though, was called Skinny Legs, and it is in Coral Bay. We ate there 4 times.
Yep, 4 times.
Yeah, it really good. They have burgers, chicken sandwiches, different other, just they had like Reubens and.
It seems to be the place where locals hang out. They said if the power goes out, everybody's going to be at Skinny Legs.
Right, that's something else that happens quite often as the power goes out. Luckily, while we were there in our house, it only went out like once. And
For like 2 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it didn't last very long. But yeah, Skinny Legs, it's like an outdoor covered place.
Mm-hmm.
I think I ate a chicken sandwich every time. It's the best chicken sandwich I've ever had. It was really good. The burgers are good. The Reubens, you had that's good.
Yeah.
So we would highly recommend you eat at Skinny Legs at least once because the place is really nice.
They have a good bar selection of bar drinks, so
it's kind of like the most normal place you're gonna get. I mean, it was just kind of like they had a good selection of food, and it was really good.
Yeah.
So, and the other place we ate at was on the cruise bay side, and it was this Gringo's Caribbean canteen. It was Mexican food. That was really good.
It was good. I heard them say there's lots of other locations of that, but it was good. There was a lot of food.
Yeah.
So that was good. We just ate there one day, kind of like a lunchtime deal.
Yeah, because we were like, well, we should eat someplace different because we're, it can get kind of boring, I guess, just eating the same thing all the time. So we thought, we'll just go over to Cruise Bay and do some shopping. Do you want to talk about any of the shopping places over there?
Well, I like to buy I like to buy jewelry or some kind of something, and nothing extravagant, just something like when we're on vacations. I had kind of looked up just things prior to going, and I saw that these hook bracelets are really popular in the Caribbean. There's like a Caribbean hook, which is how, I don't know, you'll have to Google it. There's a Caribbean hook, and then there's a St. John hook, St. John hook. And it's how the bracelets are attached. So you kind of it's how they're connected together. The Caribbean hook is a C, and the St. John hook is a J. So I got the St. John one just because I like it better, and I have a J name. And so I had looked at these bracelets and thought, I want to look around and get them. When we were at one of the beaches at Maho Bay, this lady who was sitting by us, I struck up a conversation with her about something else, and then we started talking, and then I noticed she had a bracelet. So I said, I love your hook bracelet. I'm interested in getting one of those. She told me about this jewelry shop that she said is in Mongoose Junction, which is a little mall, like outdoor mall area in Cruise Bay. So when we went there, did I just say it was called Vibe? I don't know if I said that. Anyway, she told me that's where it was, so I went there. It happened to be right next door to that Gringo's. I went in. They were very, very nice. It was a beautiful place inside. Um, the store was, and so I bought this bracelet there. It's gorgeous. It has a stone in it that's kind of a turquoise looking stone, and it's like this. It's like the stone of the islands. I can't think of what it's called. That starts with an L. Anyway, it's pretty. It's kind of a just like it's like a turquoise, like a rock kind of. I mean, I guess all stones are rocks,
Yeah.
but more of a rock look than like a diamond.
Yeah.
So anyway, it's beautiful. We bought some other things at some little stores around there. Got some T-shirts and then got a pair of shorts and just some little,
This
Anyway,
Mongoose Junction's a great place, and it's right. It's where the Friends of the
Friends
National Park are.
and where the Just Beach is, where we rented the snorkel equipment.
And across the street from the Park Visitor Center. So
Yeah.
a good little place. Okay, so here's the part that I'm sure you all have been waiting for. Let's talk about the beaches.
Oh yeah.
So let's start with the salt pond. So
That's
this
a beach, not a pond.
Yes, there's a salt pond nearby, and that's why it's called the salt pond. But this is on the southeast side of the island. It was much closer to where we were staying at the Johnson Bay Estates. And we had a couple of hours of daylight, and it's like, we should go out and look. And I had read that this particular place is a good place to see sea turtles. So we went there. There was not a lot of people there. These aren't one of the North Shore beaches that are the most popular.
Right.
But you park, and then you kind of have to walk down this hill, which if I had known that, I would have brought like tennis shoes, because, I mean, it wasn't bad, but it's really annoying when you're trying to do that in flip-flops. It's like, we don't understand people who hike in flip-flops. How do you do that? We're not really sure.
No.
But we made it down. The beach was nice. It was wide. There was plenty of room to sit. And that was the first place where we saw a sea turtle of our trip. So my brother and I went out snorkeling. And the reason this place is popular to see sea turtles, or good to see sea turtles, I should say, is there's seagrass along the beach and reefs along the walls of this beach, basically. So it's like you've got reef and then seagrass in the middle, which turtles like to graze on. So that's where we saw our first one.
Yeah, I didn't get in there.
It was a pretty good size, but yeah, this beach was good.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not as popular as the other ones. So let's move on to the North Shore. The Hawk's Nest Bay is where we'll start, and this is the farthest west. So like coming out of Cruz Bay, this is the first one that you're gonna hit. You didn't like this beach as much. This one is, I think it seems to be more wavy.
Well, the waves were higher the day we were there. A rockier entry, which I don't always love. I don't like to walk into a bunch of rocks. I'm kind of weird about what I step on. The ocean can give me the creeps sometimes. Like I have to have my fins on, or I have to have my water shoes. I don't like to step on any kind of stuff. I mean, I love the ocean. Just sometimes I'm like, yeeks. So that one just kind of gave me a little, but that's just me. The day we went, there was really windy, so it was hard to snorkel. I didn't think the reef was. I mean, you liked it.
I did. This was the most, like Great Barrier Reef looking. Like it was. I mean, it looked like really healthy. It was really colorful.
Yeah.
The thing was, it was wavy, and from what I could tell, because I know the snorkeling goggles kind of magnify things, but that reef was shallow. There was not a lot of room between the highest plants
Mm-mm.
and the surface. So it was kind of like I didn't really want to swim over them. It was that close.
Mm-hmm.
But that was a very good beach. I think I saw a couple turtles there.
Did you?
I know we saw one when we were out snorkeling.
No, that's right, we did.
Um,
Sorry, I forgot.
and then there's this other beach on the other side, this like rocky outcropping,
Mm-hmm.
and we were like, nobody's there, so you and I swam over there,
Yeah, that was kind of weird, and
and it seemed
we
almost.
saw a ray over there.
We did see a stingray over there, and that seemed kind of like a more private beach. Like there's some private residences, but I mean, there was nothing saying you can't be here.
Right.
So that was kind of strange, but whatever. The beach I felt was like pretty wide. There's plenty of room. I liked Hawks Nest Beach. Um, but yeah, there's pretty much reef everywhere. It's not hard to find at this particular place. So the next one, we're gonna skip Trunk Bay and come back to that. Cinnamon Bay, which this is the one where on the left you've got the giant houses, like the
Yeah, there was some
like $7 million houses, craziness. But this beach, I would say, is the biggest, don't you think?
Yeah, probably.
It's wide and long. Um, so there's the reef wise. It's okay reef wise.
Mm-hmm.
One is to the left, and then one is before this little island K thing, and that's kind of far out and hard to get to, I would say. And it was wavy the day we were there too, so it made it a little more tricky. And then this rude lady.
I don't want to talk about her.
Oh my gosh. Well, we'll just say this, that most people are pretty nice except for this one lady. She was just absolutely very rude, but
And that, yeah.
that was a little ridiculous, but I don't think we really saw any sea turtles here. Um but this is more of a, if you want to just sit out and relax, I would recommend this beach.
Oh yeah, it was great.
Cuz I can't just sit there. I have to
I can.
yeah, I have to be moving
Mm-hmm.
and have like a good activity or something. And so this wasn't my favorite, but if you're just there to kind of relax, it would be perfect.
Mm-hmm.
So the next one we'll talk about going back is Trunk Bay. Now this is the beach that you'll probably see the most pictures of. And this is an absolutely beautiful beach. And I think you said it was rated as one of the top 10 in the world. Am I correct in saying that? I read that somewhere
today. While we've been talking, I googled it and I didn't see it on there anymore, but that's okay.
Still a great beach.
It is absolutely insanely beautiful there.
So something that's unique, and I'm gonna plug this, is the Reef Trail, this underwater trail that you just kind of follow these little interpretive signs that tell you about the different kind of fish and things that live down there. That was really cool, and that's the first episode of our On the Trail series on YouTube. So if you want to see that, that is up there now. It was really cool, and
yeah, it's a neat idea.
Yeah.
The first time we went there, I didn't, or I guess I didn't see all the trail. Or Ben and I were out there trying to snorkel the trail, and we got off the trail because it's easy to do. And then I thought, well, gosh, there's not that many signs or whatever, but there ended up being way more. Um, anyway, it's a really cool idea. It's a beautiful beach.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is fantastically gorgeous. So, um,
And that's a long beach too.
yeah, you do have to pay to get into this beach. They don't take the national park pass, but it's like $5 a person. So,
I think they didn't take the annual pass. I think they had there was like a senior lifetime pass.
they took something.
Yeah,
And you
there's a
could,
military thing
yeah,
maybe, but our pass was the only one that they didn't take.
right, but that's okay.
Yeah, so that's the only part of the park you really have to pay to get into, maybe besides outside of Caneel Bay.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, this is a long beach, and the underwater trail is on the right side, um, on this little island by this little island cave thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's not very far out, and it's a great. I would say it's pretty accessible. The last day we were there, it was kind of a college. It looked like a Florida beach. It was kind of
Yeah, it was a little nuts. The first time we were there was really good. It did rain while we were there the first time, but it's
yeah,
fine. But that was like the biggest rainstorm that we got into.
yes, yeah. Okay, and then the last beach that we visited, and this is, I think we're pretty much all in agreement in the family about this, is the Maho Bay is the best.
Yeah, that was a great beach.
Is the best beach. We saw turtles galore
Mm-hmm.
there. And I'm going to use this as a PSA. You're not supposed to touch the turtles. Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
So this little kid,
Well, not just a little kid, old enough to know better kid.
oh yeah, yeah, not like a 3-year old, but and his parents didn't seem to care. They kept directing. They kept, the turtles would stick their heads up, and you could see them from the beach, and they'd like point, "Oh, go over there and go touch it.
Mm-hmm.
You are not supposed to touch the turtles." And I watched this. I was swimming along with this turtle, keeping my distance like you're supposed to.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, stay social distance from the turtles. We
Right.
should all be used to that by now. So, this kid came up, swam, almost hit me, and then started touching it, and the turtle just like shivered. Like it was
Mm-hmm.
just, I mean, it was really sad to watch. I yelled at him, but he didn't seem to care. So, but yes, lots of turtles there. This is a really cool spot. You love to snorkel at this place. It was great.
Yeah, it was really nice.
Um, And so I actually got kind of into a BBC Planet Earth David Attenborough documentary
Mm-hmm.
moment. So on the far left, there was this huge school of these tiny little fish. I mean, they're like smaller than your thumb. They're absolutely tiny, but there was hundreds of thousands of them. And I'm like swimming through this, and there's like these bigger fish, and they all swoop around them, and it was just there's like birds diving in trying to get these fish, and then there's these like tarpon things that are like 6 feet long,
Tarpons, yeah.
tarpons trying to get them, and it was just like, oh my gosh. So it was absolutely spectacular. And Maho Beach, it's kind of narrow, but it's pretty long. Um, so we absolutely love this beach. That was our favorite.
Yeah.
Um, and this is on the east side, right before Highway 20 goes up to meet Highway 10. So it's like the last one. But it is the most spectacular. It has lots of parking, and there's food trucks that
Mm-hmm.
park on the other side of the road. So it's a really good beach. So that wraps it up. That is pretty much everything there is to do on St.
Well,
John.
there's a ton more beaches that we just didn't go to.
Yeah, there's Canoe Bay and things like that, but the island is small. There's not a lot to do, and
But it was beautiful.
we stayed a week. So, what did you think of our trip this year?
I really liked it. We've been. It was nice to just relax and snorkel, which I haven't done in a long time. So to me, it was really good.
Yeah,
I was ready to go home just because it was like we just did so much of that, and but I think I'm always ready to go home just because I'm like, oh yeah, get back to some sort of schedule in my life. But it
where
was
groceries aren't as expensive.
right, yeah. But just for lots of reasons, it was good to be home. But it was still, it's a beautiful place. Um, if I go there again, I probably don't want to be there as long, but still, but that's okay. I mean, a lot of people love it. I just can't. I need a little more to do,
Yeah,
but at the same time, I did enjoy just kind of doing nothing and relaxing. It was good, so I liked it there.
yeah, and we heard somebody say they were staying on St. Thomas and they took a day trip over to St. John. They're like, "Oh, this is way
Yeah,
better."
I have been to St. Thomas. I It was a long time ago. I was probably like 15. So I liked it then, but I think this was more laid back, a lot more primitive, but I really liked it. So a good place to be.
Yes, for sure. I really enjoyed this trip. I was ready to go home too. Um, we do miss our mountains, but this is good for
Yeah,
us.
I'm glad we did this. So
All right, so that's gonna wrap up episode 12, and hopefully we'll be back soon with some more Arizona stories from Sedona.
hmm
So, all right, well, thank you all for listening. Go ahead and follow us on all social media platforms that we have: YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We are on all of those. And again, thank you all for listening.
yeah,
Go out and see the world, right?
yep, do it.
All right. Bye, everybody.